YouTube, you're watching Gunplay TV. I'm the bearded brother, and today on the channel, we're taking a look at a combination of products from the boys at Core Essentials. So, if you're not already subscribed to the channel, I'd ask that you pause this video now, scroll down, take a look for that subscribe button, and once you've found it, go ahead and give that a click for me. I do appreciate it. And without further ado, let's get straight into the video.
Reach for the sky.
Alright guys, so as I said in the introduction, we've got a combination of products in here from the boys at Core Essentials. And so if you're not familiar with that brand, they make a lot of EDC style accessories, namely some of their more popular products are their gun belts. And I believe that's what we've got in the box here today. So we'll take a look here together. Alright, so we've got the box broken open. Let me go ahead and unpack what we got here and we'll take a look at the contents together. Stand by. So we've got everything out of the box, and we've got quite a bit here on the table, as we can see. So we've got 3 belts from the folks over there at Core Essentials, and when they sent these out, they asked that I kind of compare and contrast these models and give you guys an idea of what each particular belt has to offer. All right, so to start it off, we're gonna go from right to left. We've got the black leather gun belt, okay? Here in the middle, of course, we've got the black tactical gun belt. So these are both 1.5 inches in width. And of course, these are gonna be more everyday carry. Maybe the leather's more classy, elegant type of occasion, whereas the nylon's maybe more everyday carry, or if you just like the tactical look, right? And then lastly, we've got the 1.75 inch. This is the Garrison belt. So this is their range belt, if you will. This is gonna be a little heavier duty, and it's gonna be rated to hold a little bit more weight. So we'll get into all of these individually here in a bit. In addition to that, we can see up here at the top, we've got a few different buckles. So naturally, 3 buckles, 3 belts. We'll have 1 buckle for each belt. I think it's pretty straightforward as to which buckle will be for which, but we'll go through it here together. We've got the X3 buckle. So that's gonna pair nicely with the black leather gun belt. We've then got the X5 buckle, a little bit sleeker, more tactical, everyday carry style, if you will, and that's gonna pair with the black tactical nylon belt here. And then we've got this beefy guy right here. And that, of course, is the G1 buckle for the Garrison belt system. Right, and so included with both the nylon belts, you're going to get a loop tie, if you will. So this is, of course, going to pair with the black tactical EDC style belt. This is, of course, gonna help keep the excess strap tied down to your waistband. And of course, this FDE loop wrap is gonna pair nicely with the tan Garrison belt that we've got here. All right, and so moving further left, we've got 2 protective sleeves for our belts. These are gonna pair with the nylon belts once again, help to prevent fraying. We'll take a look at those here later in the video. And then far to the left, we've got 2 belt hangers, all right? So these will allow you to hang 2 belts a piece from your closet, and they're gonna interface nicely with the Core buckle system. Now, as we compare all these belts, I wanna point out that we will take the time to go into these individually, maybe in a separate video. But I do wanna take a high level, 50,000 foot view of each of these belts, the pros and cons, the interface system, and what Core is really working with and what they're bringing to the table. All right, so we've got the table cleaned off, and we'll notice that the instruction manual managed to stick around. Now, typically, I throw out any included literature with such products, but with the Core system, I think it's important that we go over the steps for sizing a particular belt, okay? So don't throw this out if you've got a gun belt, all right? So on the back of the belt, I'll roll in some footage of this as I cut mine. There are markings etched into the back of these belts, and they are going to help you find your particular pre-existing, of course, pant size, all right? So once you found your pant size, you should know what that is by now, I assume. You're gonna add 4 to 6 inches to that pant size on the belt, and then you're gonna cut it. Now, that 4 to 6 inches is not a recommendation, it's kind of dependent, right? So if you do plan to carry inside the waistband, of course, you kind of need added room in the belt for that added girth, which is now your new waist size, if you will. And so you're gonna add 6 inches to your pants measurement in such case. Now, if you aren't planning to carry inside the waistband, or maybe if you got one of the fashion series belts, which are not approved to carry a gun, by the way, you're only gonna add 4 inches, okay? And so once you figure that out, maybe measure twice, cut once, right? You're gonna take out a pair of scissors and give that a cut. And so I've kind of moved them out of the frame, but of course included with each of the belts is hardware, all right? And so that hardware is gonna be used essentially to tie your belt into your buckle, basically, right? It's gonna ensure that we don't have any separation during carry, which of course with a gun belt is a no-go. Now, I think from here, it's pretty logical what we're gonna do, but we're gonna take our cut ends of our belts, we're gonna insert that into the female portion of the buckle and tighten that down with the screws. Now, before I put the literature up for good, I do have to say that the folks at Core are some real ones. If you take a look here at the bottom, cut belts are eligible for refund if you do manage to fuck it up somehow. but it's only an 80% refund, right? So you are going to eat some of that cost if you are a dummy. So again, measure twice, cut once. This is common sense. Get it right. So I've gone ahead and installed the buckles on each of the belts, as we can see, and I've got to say, the hardware that Core has used and included in the box with these buckles is A1. All of the hardware included, both the Allen key and the screws themselves, appear to be stainless steel, and I had no stripping of either during my assembly, okay, so I'm happy to say that. Now right off the bat, we can see kind of the difference of these belts, not only in color, but in construction, right? And so these nylon belts, again, are gonna be more tactical. If you are gonna wear these as an everyday carry style belt, I'd imagine that this is gonna be a more casual look for you. This, of course, being thicker, may not fit through your everyday carry style pants, but again, this is aimed at a range belt style solution. And so with the Garrison, you can bet that we are going to take a separate look at this in another video, just because it's claimed to be a bit more robust. All right, and last but not least, of course, we've got the leather gun belt. Okay, so this one's a bit more elegant in presentation, as I said before. This is one that you could wear to work with or without your firearm. And of course, if you're a Fed and watching my channel for whatever reason, this one's probably for you, right? So thus far in the video, we've really only taken a look at this portion of the belt and upwards, right? The materials, of course, we've compared and contrasted. We've taken a look at the buckles. Of course, all of those are going to share the same style of fastening mechanism. Now, these belts are not only alike in the sense that they share the same fastening mechanism for the buckle to the belt themselves. Now, I'll touch on this in the beginning. Each of these Core belts does not have any belt holes, okay? And so this is part of what makes the belt system from Core so unique. They actually have a hidden track system, and so this will give you over 40 individual adjustment points as opposed to maybe 6 to 8 holes in your belt in order to get just the right fit, okay? All right, so here's a look at how that works. So as you take the end of your belt and you slide that in, we'll see that it ratchets against those teeth there, okay? And so at any point when it's trying to come loose, just like a belt hole would, it's going to keep that in place. Now, at any time, I can easily ratchet that down and get just the right amount of snugness, or use the lever here and loosen that just a bit. Maybe if I sit down at dinner and I don't want that gun jabbing into my abdomen, maybe I'll let it out just a few holes, real quick and easy, very discreet. So now that we've got each of the belts put together and we've taken a look at how that's done, I do want to cover some of the special points, some of the added features that Core is bringing to the table. So one thing that's really important, of course, with the gun belt is rigidity, okay? And so when you get one of these Core gun belts, these things are serious, right? I am trying to crush this thing and I can't, right? I really cannot. It's as stiff as it comes, okay? And so they claim that this is stiffer than a steel core. They call this their power core center, okay? And it is reinforced one way or another with some proprietary blend of polymers or something, but they again say that none of these have ever broken on them. And so I imagine if it does happen to you, you're getting your money back or a brand new belt. Now, again, that material is going to be proprietary, and they claim that it's been tested, tried and true for over 2 years of solid durability, okay? So you're not going to have any issues with these things sagging on you and going soft, all right? Now, of course, that same level of rigidity is going to be very important, not only when you're everyday carrying, but when you're on the range, okay? And so you really do want to make sure that you've got something that's going to not only keep that gun where you placed it, but you also want to make sure that you're able to get a consistent and reliable draw, right? And that can't happen if your gun's sliding around on your belt sagging, and for whatever reason, it's in a different position every time you go to reach for it. That's not going to happen with these Core Essentials belts. All right, so taking a look at each of these belts and what they each bring to the table. Of course, the leather EDC gun belt. Now, these first two are going to be 1.5 inches wide. Those leather EDC belts, like we see here, are going to be constructed of 2 full-length pieces of top grain leather, okay? And so that's going to be both, of course, the inside and the outside, like we see here. Now, not only that, but they are coated with a tough waterproof coating to help prevent scuffing and damage over time. Now, these leather belts are only going to support your light to medium weight firearms. It's rated up to 4 pounds, of course, but when we get up here to these tactical belts, of course, also 1.5 inches wide, these are going to be using a nylon web outer layer as opposed to the leather, and that's going to be rated up to 500 pounds, at least that material is. Not only that, but they're using what they call a super fiber inner layer, and that's going to be extremely durable. It shouldn't wear at all, and it's going to be water and sweat resistant. So you're going to find that not only on this tactical belt for everyday carry, but your Garrison range belts as well. Now, these tactical belts, the one you see here in the center, is going to be rated to support full-size firearms, and that's up to 8 pounds according to Core. But that Garrison, the big guy here we got on the right, is supposed to be able to handle pretty much anything you throw at it. And so I'm going to get this out to the range in a separate video, and we'll see but as far as I can tell, this one is rated for up to 10 pounds. So when it comes to belts, especially gun belts, it's not necessarily just a question of materials and construction, but also rigidity, right? And so you want a belt that's going to be very stiff. And the reason for that, of course, is going to be, right, when you're carrying a gun, it's not necessarily something that you want flopping around, okay? And so you want that belt to be rigid enough that it holds that gun in place, not only the first day that you buy it, but 2-3 years from now, right? And so you want that to always hold that gun upright in place, not only so you know where it is, but you can also get a reliable draw. Now, not only is rigidity important when it comes to a gun belt, but comfort is key as well, right? You're carrying something that's heavy up against your body for extended periods of time, and you want that experience to be as comfortable as possible, right? And of course, that's where that core hidden track system is going to come in. You're going to be able to get almost infinite points of adjustability on your belt, and that's going to mean that provided you don't blow up several sizes, you can pretty much find the right fit for any day or any gun that you're carrying. Now, one other thing to point out, when you do buy one of these core belts, you're not necessarily locked down to your buckle, and that's part of the allure with these belts, right? So these two belts, of course, are both 1.5 inch in width, and in that case, these two buckles could be interchanged at any time, right? In addition to that, Core has a large number of buckles for selection on their site, and they all interface and work with their hidden track system and use the same locking and unlocking mechanism. So you won't have any issues swapping those out if you decide to kind of switch the style up, if you will, at some point down the line. All right, guys. So that pretty much is going to wrap it up for the Core Essentials trio that the folks over there were kind enough to send out for review. So frankly, I've used each of these belts for an extended period of time, and I'm happy. Now, I did roll in some footage of myself using the Garrison belt out on the range, and frankly, I've been using that belt as an EDC belt as well. And it works just fine, provided that you have a pair of pants with wide enough belt loops. These other two belts, of course, were designed with EDC in mind, and they leave nothing to be desired. They're extremely comfortable, just as Core claimed. You can wear these things all day and almost forget that they're there because the rigidity is tuned in just right. Now, one of the things that some people might say is a con is the requirement of having to size these belts yourself. And I assure you that the 2 minutes that it requires of you are well worth it. Essentially, you end up with a belt that is infinitely adjustable for your size. Now, of course, with these Core belts, it is one size fits most. And so as we saw, when you do get your belt, it will be very long. You'll snip that down. And provided that you are within 24 inches to a 54-inch waist, you should be able to fit these belts. Not only that, but Core also has a fashion line of belts that aren't even geared to concealed carry. And those also are going to use the buckle system and hidden track system that we've seen here on the channel today. All in all, I'm very pleased and I'm frankly impressed with the trio of belts that they sent out. I'm definitely going to be throwing more money their way. And if you're looking to pick up one of these belts or any Core belt for that matter, you can save 10% with the code GUNPLAY10 at Core Essentials. In addition to that, I will also make sure that I include a link where you guys can get straight to the page and grab some of these belts yourself in the description. All right. So with all that being said, I'm gonna go ahead and get up out of here.